computer sounds like it's working hard. Whereas I'm hardly working. My humor's being wasted right now. Hey, Uncle Buck. Almost 2 minutes for anyone to get here. I had to just talk to myself. Hey, Buttercup. Hey, Shirley. Nice to humor. My computer fan was getting loud. Oh right, yeah, I forgot I wasn't here. Yeah, my depression got the better of me last night. Sorry. Hey, Killface. Yeah, my depression got the better of me last night. As for the humor, my computer fan was working like really loud, was like going really, really loud. Computer fan's going really loud, so I said that my computer sounds like it's working really, my computer sounds like it's working hard. And then I said, while I'm hardly working, and did a really stupid laugh. Winter? Oh, it's nothing to do with winter, it's having to do with depression, Killface. That said, winter does suck. I went to the grocery store today. It wasn't really all that cold. Hey, Grimace. But there was, it's kind of slushy out there. Just kind of, around just kind of slushy. Your depression is worse in the winter? Yeah. Seasonal affective disorder. In my case, I don't think the fact that it's winter factors in for me. In my case, it's just the depression. If anything, I probably find summer harder. Because it's so fucking hot. I hate it. January and February is the hardest months for me. I did. And apparently it wasn't actually, like, on camera. It was, like, voice. So I didn't even... I could have gone on without... I could have done it without even putting on pants. Except I always wear pants. We're gonna find summer harder because we spend a lot of time outside. But outside is hot! I find summer hard because it's so goddamn hot. Hey Shelly, I hate the heat. I don't like when it's hot out. really do well with sunshine. Still don't know how you wear jeans while staying at home all day. It's sick, really sick. I know, I know. It's what I'm used to. Psycho. Consider that your depression could be caused by wearing jeans at home all day. I mean, I could try wearing a skirt, but I kind of don't like how hairy my legs are. My legs are very hairy, and I don't know. I don't really like looking at my hairy legs. Sweatpants, boxers. Well, boxers fall into the same issue. Seeing my hairy legs. Sweatbands, eh. I just kind of find that intro music kind of annoying. Sweatpants are from heaven, and I don't even believe in it. It's my sort of pink tie-dye Sailor Moon shirt with all the Guardians on it, or with the 5 main Guardians on it. The inner Guardians. Moon, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus. In order of debut. Random, but I maintain that, theme song gets instantly stuck in my head. I maintain that, in the manga, like for the manga version, I maintain that Venus and Mars absolutely dated each other for a while in high school. That's absolutely my headcanon, and I don't think they ended up together. I think they probably did break up, like, yeah, they dated each other, for a couple years in high school, maybe a little bit after high school, but they did eventually break up, and then they went off and did their own things. But I'm absolutely convinced that they did date in high school. Because you read the manga and, holy shit. You know nothing about Sailor Moon? Well, anyway, enough about these bisexual bitches. Let's get to our bisexual bitch. As I mentioned, I did figure out how to adjust my stats. So I did make a few adjustments to some of my stats. I didn't go overboard. Live stream, watch along on Patreon. I don't know. Ew, no, fuck you. If not, we could watch on our own while you were also live watching. All you've learned has been from my chat against your will. And Wolf Children uploaded on YouTube. I'll try to add Wolf Children to my list of things to watch. I'm still on season 3 of My Little Pony. Friendship is magic. Anyway, like I said, adjusted my skills, my knowledges. And then, yeah, as I mentioned, I didn't go too overboard, so I may adjust later if I need to. Watch it together on Patreon. Anyway. Picking up before we left off last time. We're gonna give that date with Zarad another chance. It takes you a moment of recovery post-dinner fiasco to realize that while you were gone, a note and a single purple rose has been placed on your desk. The note was simple, It was from Prince Arad telling you to meet him at the gardens next to the gazebo at sunset for your stargazing date. You didn't take long to get ready, and after the evening you had, you were looking forward to some cool fresh air and, hopefully, easy company. Prince Arad was famous for his womanizing ways, which surely meant he would be able to make the evening peacefully enjoyable, especially since he was sure to be on his best behavior. As the sky starts to turn to dusk, filled with the vibrant colors that painted the sky only twice a day, you made your way outside. A small, brisk wind makes you huddle a little into your dress, feeling the slight chill of the night air. You reach the appointed spot, but Prince Arad is nowhere to be seen. Since the piece is a nice change and the view is quite breathtaking, you settle in to wait happily enough. But the scenery captures enough of your attention that when someone speaks up from behind you, you nearly jump out of your skin. Good evening, Lady Nicole. How positively surprising to find you outside alone. Have you been abandoned, or merely enjoying the view? Lady Abelie, good evening. I'm waiting for someone. Well, how positively unkind letting a fine lady such as yourself wait. If you point them out, I shall be happy to reprimand them for you. 11.9% butter. Oof. That is a lot. Feeling, as always, a little overwhelmed by the pure force that was Lady Abelie, you smile and murmur your thanks. By happy coincidence, I'm already waiting to meet up with someone, a certain charmer with quite the reputation from Corval, as it happens. There's only one person matching that description, and he was the person you were supposed to meet. Was there some sort of mistake? Had Prince Arad invited you both and not bothered to tell either one of you? You couldn't stop your mind from conjuring all sorts of possible explanations and scenarios, from the plausible to the completely ridiculous to the actually impossible. Secret demon-possessed twin, anyone? Anyway, there was no point in wondering about all sorts of nonsensical scenarios. The truth would end up being the truth, and wondering about it wouldn't change anything. There's no reason to assume the worst. In fact, knowing Lady Abelie, there's plenty of reason to assume that she is deliberately misleading you, simply because she can. She didn't say she was meeting up with Prince Arad, she just said she was meeting someone from Corval. Just because she phrased it in a way intended to make you leap to conclusions, didn't mean those conclusions were true. He might have a reputation as a flirt, but you don't think that Prince Arad was so careless as to send you an invitation, and a second note, by mistake, or as tactless as to invite two young ladies to the same gathering and not mention them to one another. That would be a pretty baller move, though. No, this must be Lady Abelie's doing. Perhaps it was her idea of a joke, or maybe it was a test. In either way, you weren't going to let her ruin any more of your evening. You smile at her brightly. There must be something in the air tonight, Lady Abelie, for I am also waiting for a charming man from Corval. Prince Arad should be here any moment. I hope you have as enjoyable an evening as I intend to. Good night. Lady Abelie blinks innocently at you, but gives you an approving smile as she curtsies farewell and moves towards the castle. What was that about? You twirl around to see Prince Arad lounging in the shadows, his back against the gazebo wall. Lady Abelie was just telling me about her appointment with a charming flirt from Corval. There must be something in the water for one nation to produce so many. The prince smiles at you approvingly. I hope your excuse for keeping me waiting wasn't so you could lurk in the shadows spying on the passers-by. As tempting an activity as that sounds, no. As a matter of fact, I got here just as Lady Abelie was baring her fangs. I apologize for being late. Inexcusable to keep such a delightful lady waiting. Ungrateful that no one has taken advantage of my mistake and stolen you away. You should be grateful I waited. It's in my nature to do whatever seems best at the time, and sitting around in the cold waiting for you isn't how I prefer to spend my time. He grins and accepts your gentle reprimand with appreciation. That's right, Lady Nicole. It's too early in our relationship for you to start letting me get away with things. So I suppose I will simply have to make it up to you. I can start by promising you the wait is worth it in the view alone. Shall we go? He leads you through the gardens to a semi-secluded spot where a blanket is already on the grass and urges you to take a seat. By now the sun has finished its brilliant descent, and you can see the twinkling of many bright stars. It is strange, your kingdom isn't actually that far from the Isle, but you would swear that not only is the night sky brighter, but the view and the stars themselves are different. Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. If you are about to say, but not as beautiful as you, or something similar, please stop now. His red accent is hilarious. I'm trying to go with like an Arabic accent. My goal is that's sort of like what I'm kind of trying for, is like an Arabic accent. It's just the sky, you can see it every night. I mean, it's just the sky is kind of like... takes a lot of the romance out of it, doesn't it, Uncle Buck? Besides, the night sky is beautiful. Man, I miss starry skies. Hey, hamburger eyes. Love these types of games, you're really good at them. I mean... as far as being good at them, there's not a lot of... they don't take a lot of skill. But I assume you mean I'm good at narrating them. Yeah, I like the, if you're about to say, but not as beautiful as you, or something similar, please stop now. He smirks lazily at you. I was about to say, but something about the sky here is strange. If you want me to think the same thing of you, I would be happy to oblige. Oh, are you jealous? Don't be concerned, Lady Nicole. My heart is large enough for both you and the sky. And, if the rumors are to be believed, at least 100 other gullible ladies. 100! You give me so much credit, how flattering! You struggling with Zerad's accent choice right now? I struggle with every accent I try to do, Kilpace. I'm not good at accents. I always struggle with accents. Since you have so much practice giving false compliments, it is no wonder you are so skilled at arranging them for yourself as well. False! Just because I find much to admire in those around me, I've automatically become a liar? If you are a liar, it's not because you are full of admiration, Your Highness. Usually are because you were good at narrating, so quit playing. No, I'm good at narrating, I'm terrible at accent. Narration, I'm good at narrating. Accent, I am always terrible at accents. You just thought that was a funny response? He breaks into a pleased, low chuckle, which, so near your ear, you can feel raising the hair along your arms. It is dangerous, that laugh. Ah, it has been so long since anyone has been able to keep up with me so well. You were a marvel, Lady Nicole. I suspect you would fit right in at the Corval Court. From the rumors I hear of the Corval Court, I'm not entirely sure that is a compliment. You wound me, beautiful lady. Then, with an easy smile to show he didn't mean it, he collapses back against the blanket, arms wildly outstretched. He collapses back against the blanket, arms wildly outstretched to stare at the sky, a distracted look creeping over his face. He definitely isn't behaving in a manner that is appropriate for his station, for your situation, and certainly not considering the pair of you barely know each other. It's unusual, but you consider yourself adaptable enough to roll with the punches, so to speak. If it came to actual punches, you aren't confident you would do so well. There's something about Prince Arad that makes you think him a capable fighter. He changes his gaze from the sky and instead looks straight up into your face, catching you mid-stare. He grins lazily and sends you a quick wink. Enjoying the view? Contemplating if madness runs in families. I believe I actually get a bone if I go with this one. I really think I should go. He props himself up and gives you a considering look. His study seems to have concluded you are serious. Huh? The guide I'm looking at, supposedly this one gives +5 to interpersonal insight and politics. I want to check something. The opaque background makes it hard to read this game. It does. Yeah, they didn't... So the good options... The two good options here are, oh, sorry, I was merely contemplating if madness runs in families. Or, not particularly, but I can bring you a mirror if you want a properly appreciative audience. Which I find hilarious, honestly. But yeah, they bad choice for the boxes and like the font color, I feel like. I wonder. No option to change. You can change the font, but can't see it on my iPad, so I can imagine what a phone would be like. The graphic design of this game is a little touch and go. Yeah. They definitely, like... There's definitely places they could have improved, and like, They did have a pretty dedicated player base. Like when they released the demo, and as they kept releasing demos and everything, they did actually have a pretty dedicated, I don't think large, but a very dedicated fan base. So I'm kind of surprised that none of them were like, hey, you know, like you might want to consider changing, you know, this around to make it a little bit easier to read. Marijuana is funny. Yeah, the two good options are either contemplating if madness runs in families, or I can bring you a mirror if you want. I think I'll go with the mirror one. Not particularly, but I can bring you a mirror if you want a properly appreciative audience. His mouth twitches and slowly spreads into an approving smile. Ah, but forgive me, Lady Nicole, for unlike others, I'm not content with simply collecting my own admiration. I do not think you would be content with the admiration of 1,000 swooning ladies. He smiles dangerously. Perhaps it is not admiration that is my goal. I should hope not, for if it was, you are certainly going about it in a very roundabout way. He turns his gaze back to the sky, but not before you see the mirth and delight dancing in his eyes. Prince Arad pats the blanket next to him. Come, Lady Nicole, you should also make yourself comfortable, and look at the sky from the proper position. You stare at the indicated space, which would put you lying down right next to him, and with nowhere to put your head that isn't either on the open grass or on his outstretched arm, and frown. Even if you were tempted by such an offer, you knew that being caught in a position so compromising, with a man you barely knew, would quite possibly ruin any chance you had at respectability and respect during the summit. I got one more time to describe this man's smile. Thank you for your kind offer, but I feel my current position is the best one. Looking down on me, you mean? You decide that the best possible answer to that is a raised eyebrow and a blank stare. Fine. I concede, if not defeat, at least an equal match. And as delightful as dueling a properly armed opponent has been, I suppose it wouldn't kill us to talk of something of substance. I'm not sure. It might. Kill you, I mean. He laughs. He's already smiled lazily and dangerously. Yes, well, it's my understanding that you can't properly get to know someone if you don't ever talk about anything that matters. Ah, what a dangerous confession. Do you want to get to know me then? Properly? Would it surprise you if I could honestly answer that question yes? It might, if that were actually an answer, and not a hypothetical. If I admit surrender, would you allow me to talk seriously? All that is required to talk seriously is to talk of a serious subject. He smiles and props himself up on his elbows, looking at you with an intent look that is, for once, deadly serious. It is fairly unusual, is it not, for one GL to select someone who hasn't taken the test or properly trained to be selected for the delegation. You blink at him warily. It was true that your presence on the delegation is under extremely unusual circumstances, but you had no knowledge that your circumstances, such as having not taken the test, had been made public to anyone outside of those directly involved. Do you think it has made your life easier or harder, easier or more difficult, having none of the years of training and preparation of your fellows? He takes in your wary look and laughs. Do not look at me so. I have not spied upon you or your delegation. I'm afraid it is simply human nature to gossip, even among the famous scholars of GL. So you don't think any amount of training could have prepared me? Find this whole thing easier if there was a scientific text on the intricacies of human and political interaction? Or I'm finding you increasingly disconcerting. I kind of like this one, actually. I don't think it particularly matters what I choose. So let's see. Yep. I would find this whole thing much easier if there was a scientific text on the intricacies of human and political interaction. I think if the nature of mankind and politics could be simply explained in a treatise, the need for having one would become rather obsolete. A conundrum. Perhaps it is because of your unusual selection, but you are not what I would have expected from a GL lady of scholarly background. I suppose it is your scholarly and debate training that has left you so well prepared to battle with wits. Still, considering your inclinations, I'm surprised to find you not nearly so naive about people and politics as you claim. Have I made you uncomfortable? I apologize. Let us talk of something, perhaps, less fraught. There's that look again. You disapprove of me. I'm not sure there's many people who would approve of you. At least the you bothered to show people. Oh? What if what I show people is all there is to see? That underneath the surface, there is just more surface. Somehow, I seriously doubt it. Really? Then what do you think I'm hiding? I'm always curious of the true opinions of fair damsels. You see his nip? Maybe you're right, you are just one big pit of buried surface. I think you are lonely. Lonely? What a strange thing to say. I am rarely without offers of companionship. Often more than one man could hope to juggle. You don't have to be alone to be lonely. I think you must feel very alone when, despite who you are with, you can never truly be yourself, never depend on anyone else, and never let down your act or your walls. At your words, his playful demeanor and teasing glint fade away, and for a very short moment you are faced with who you suspect is the man behind the flirtatious mask. He's hard to get to know. He looks at you searchingly, before smiling. Sadly, we got another smile description, Keelface. He's now smiled sadly. Lazily, dangerously, and now sadly. Hey, Catherine. I think there are few of us who can afford the things you speak of so easily. To be open, to depend, to let down your walls. Such things are very dangerous. Never more so, I think, than here at the summit. It's only dangerous with people you can't trust. Trust. You would risk so much for something so flimsy, something so obscure and fleeting. It doesn't have to be like that. Well, there's not much point in wasting our time in philosophical discussion. I would hardly concede to being lonely. In fact, I have 3 other ladies scheduled in tonight after I'm done with you. His mask of levity firmly back in place, you can tell the topic is closed. Still, you don't regret saying in the first place. Not just because you were able to truly see the prince for the first time, but because you are sure what you said had some impact on him. These lazy writing MFers. For a moment, he isn't as quick to tease, joke, or flirt. Instead, he looks up at the sky, his profile serious. But as quickly as it came, the moment is gone, and he jumps to his feet, offering you a hand up.
The night has grown ever darker and chiller. Sadly, it seems our time together has come to an end.
Before you have a chance to protest, he grabs your hand and helps you to your feet.
At least I hope you got some proper enjoyment out of this evening, Lady Nicole.
We didn't exactly spend much time watching the stars. Were your nipples? His nipples are covered. He leans down and smiles deliberately slowly at you. And there's deliberately slow smile.
No, I was admiring a different view entirely.
Oh dear, you must be tired, Your Highness. You seem to have lost the ability to hold yourself upright or talk sense.
Oh, are you implying I normally talk sense? Such a shameless flattener you are! Ah, look, your loyal watchdog has arrived to escort you back.
You turn to see Jasper standing near the entrance to the garden, the moonlight catching becomingly on his silver hair.
And look at the glare he is sending me. I think he's unhappy that I have kept his princess out past midnight. Alas, fair lady, I know when I am outmatched. Even the temptation of your company for a few more minutes is not worth dying in a duel with your ferocious button.
Though, given how exposed his chest was, that's... I mean, his nipples would be just like a... I think it's probably the shirt, like, just shy of his nipples. It comes out, like, just... So yeah, like his nipples would be like just barely covered by the shirt, I think. Like only barely covered. See that chest that pop like that? They should be peeking. I mean, honestly, I'm inclined to agree. At least one of his nipples should be visible. His right nipple should actually be visible. I do think his right nipple should be visible. But what you gonna do? Very oddly asymmetrical. You seeing it? I think what you're actually seeing is shadow, Uncle Buck. I think you're actually seeing a little bit of shadow. Looks like 3 belly buttons. It does. Obviously, it's supposed to be like his abs and like little divots in his abs. A little off on the lineup of the chest. Yeah. I love that we're just talking about a dude's nipples now. That's the conversation, a dude's nipples.
I must bid you adieu and good night.
He takes your gloved hand in his and kisses it lightly, a flirtatious twinkle in his eye.
Until we meet again, fair lady, I hope you sleep well and dream of me.
I looked at it again. This nip is too high to be a nip. Ah. But that's a contradiction. For if I manage one, I certainly shan't be doing the other. He laughs brightly and sends you off with Jasper, who hurries you back to your room, reprimanding you for spending so much time outdoors, alone with a gentleman so late at night. You are starting to feel tired, and will be quite happy to fall into bed and into slumber. Still, as you get ready to sleep for the night, your mind can't help but race as you wonder about the true nature of Prince Arad, your conversation and your encounter with Lady Avalie. You might have only deepened the mystery surrounding the flirtatious prince, but at least after this night you feel more prepared to face the political challenges the summit is sure to present. Hey, Brooka. Yeah, gave me plus 10 to politics, and I think plus 10 to interpersonal insight. So yes, night vision. Successfully completed Zarad's week 1 event. Wind Day! A new day dawns. So because I can just cheat my skills, I don't feel much need to definitely crank interpersonal insight. One girl knows that she will rule the world. Alright, let's try exploring. Think I can get a secret here. You are taking a moment to relax in the peaceful gardens when your serenity is disturbed by the sound of flirtatious laughter. This bitch! This bitch! Man, she's just everywhere. Why, my Lord Grand Duke, I had very much hoped that you would be one of the chaperones for this little gathering. I've heard so much about you. I admit myself all a quiver to find out if the man lives up to the legend. Which one's Woodley from? Welland.
You flatter me, Lady Averley. Surely one so young as yourself can't have heard anything of interest about an old man like me.
Tell her to take a knee. You're trying to relax. I mean, if it would advance her causes, she might take both knees. If you know what I mean. She seems like she doesn't have much in the way of scruples. Averley laughs and hits his arm with her fan. Why, I imagine your age is the least impressive or interesting thing about you. You have a feeling that something else is going on behind their light banter. Although Lady Averley seems genuine in her flirtation, you can tell by both of their demeanors that they are also talking about something. If you had to guess, you would say dangerous.
I begin to wonder if you are playing out of your league, Lady Averly.
Oh no, my lord. I know exactly what game I am playing, and I assure you I'm exactly in my league. Sam Elliott fell out of my...
Yeah. I merely meant to warn you away from flirting with married men, child.
Lady Averly smiles twinkling eyes at him and laughs again. I don't flirt with married men, my lord. I flirt with interesting men.
The Grand Duke smiles wryly. I have a feeling you flirt with whoever suits your purpose.
The pair continue on their walk, moving out of earshot. You have a feeling you have glimpsed a clue to a major secret, but you will need more pieces before you can figure it out. You return to your room from a late luncheon only to realize something is off about your room. If there was anywhere in the room you were confident you could track and identify changes, it was in the pile of rare books you had borrowed from the Isle Library. You had studied each and every volume, traced every cover, and even smelled every book. Something had been added to your pile. You were certain beyond all reasonable doubt. Heading to your desk, you pulled off a strange white leather-bound book that was completely unfamiliar to you. You opened it cautiously, only to realize that every page was blank. The only thing of interest you found in the entire book was a sealed letter that fell out of the book when you shook it. Gia, if you're reading this letter, then you have completely disregarded our advice and have not given up your spot on the delegation. We are disappointed at this turn of events. It seems a waste of a promising, intelligent young lady. It is a pity, but we are still obligated to hold to our promise, or else no one will be able to trust our word again. We hope you said all your goodbyes before leaving for the Isle. You will never see your homeland, or any other land for that matter, again. Your mind races as it struggles to take this piece of new information and add it to the neat categories of your mind. So someone threatened to kill your cousin if she didn't give up her spot on the delegation? Of course, you can't send someone married as a delegate. It was a cleanly logical solution, as expected from your cousin, a top scholar. But Mark the mannequin, a set of Google eyes. He's totally not 10 times more terrifying. But if they were so skilled as to be able to successfully threaten your cousin, how would their information not anticipate the possibility that you would be selected to take her place? It seemed illogical that having you attend the delegation in her place is their desired outcome, but it was a perfectly logical one. More than logical, since it was what happened. And surely whoever had plotted this contemptible threat would have had time to learn that not at all secret fact. What a very strange puzzle you had been presented. One that made very little logical sense at all. Well, at the very least, it would give you an interesting problem to contemplate and solve while you were stuck moving from one obligation to another. Like the one you had a sinking realization you were already running late for. The sun streams brightly through your bedroom window, and you watch the beams dance across the floor and your bed, feeling lazy. That is, of course, exactly when Jasper clears his throat. It seems our schedule is empty for the rest of the day. I suggest we take advantages of this opportunity to go over what you intend to say for your self-introduction. You groan, well familiar by now by how much of a taskmaster Jasper can be when he sets his mind to it. But just as you are about to resign yourself to your inescapable fate, your door flies open, and Hameen of Heiss, pirate prince extraordinaire, his eyes twinkling with mischief, dances into your room, uninvited and unannounced. Man, I don't remember what accent I was trying to go with for him. Glitter, let's play! Jasper frowns at your invader very, very sternly, his impassive expression filled with even more, almost imperceptible disapproval than when you've done something he finds especially egregious. Lady Nicole is currently otherwise engaged.
I suggest in the future, if you wish to speak with her, you arrange an appointment and refrain from barging into a bedroom in such an unwelcome and inappropriate manner. I like him, keep him around. He is very fun. Hamin is very fun. Hamin seems completely unfazed by Jasper's disapproving speech and just grins. But I did make an appointment. Nicole agreed to go exploring with me. Jasper frowned slightly, which is basically a full-on angry glare for normal people. After passing on my lady's agreement, I did inquire to your butler as for details to a specific time and locale. When I heard nothing in return, I simply assumed you had changed your mind. Levity keeps sanity. I need a good accent for him. I need a good voice for him. Pirate accent is, I don't know. Honestly, with a name like Hamin, Hamin also gives me kind of Arabic vibes. Hey, Cosmos. And his look kinda does too, a little bit. That lid was stiff. Oof. He's Arab. But we've already established I'm not very good at Arabic accents. So giving him a different, like... Brazili, I thought? I could go for like a, you know... Maybe like a bit of a Spanish thing for him. See, of course not! Si, senora, of course not! I'm bound and determined to play with my hot-stealing Lady Glitter. It's more fun when it's a surprise, though, wouldn't you say, Nicole? As you might imagine, Lady Nicole's schedule is quite full. She has other obligations for this evening. Perhaps you can reschedule for another day. Almost think Southern Greece. The way he said it left no one in doubt he didn't actually want or plan to accept any such rescheduling. She already agreed to go exploring with me, and in any case, I think she can make up her own mind. Suddenly, both of their attention is focused intently on you. It's clear you are going to have to make a choice. You did agree to go exploring with Hamin, even if he and his butler hadn't made arrangements in a way that satisfied Jasper. But if you go, you are sure Jasper isn't going to be happy with you. And you can use some more preparation. But if you don't go, Hamin will be disappointed, and it will sort of feel like going back on your word, and your relationship might not recover. I mean... I forget what compromising does, actually. Alright. Find a way to compromise. You are determined to find a solution that will make everyone, if not happy, at least not unhappy. Jasper, I don't feel right about breaking a promise, even if it ruins our plans. Would you mind terribly if we studied when I got back?
I don't mind a late night. Jasper sighs with amused resignation.
Your sleep is important, Lady Nicole, but very well. I will prepare in anticipation of your return.
Hameen grins at you.
If that means you have to study with super serious Mr. Stuffy here after we are finished, I guess that means I will have to make sure you have twice as much fun while we are playing.
Jasper is left blinking at your back as Hameen happily grabs your wrist and drags you behind him as he charges out of your room.
I'm terribly sorry, but I have to confess something. I selfishly already explored anything of interest in the guest hall. On our left, we have more almost indistinguishable guest rooms. On our right, more of the same. In fact, the only interesting thing in the whole hall is the guests, particularly you, Glitter. Well, not the only interesting thing. I have to confess the expressions on people's faces when you barge into the rooms unannounced is quite interesting. You know, from a scientific viewpoint. Especially the butlers. A stiffer lot I have never met. Always going on about what's appropriate and what we need to do to succeed in the summit, and stop horrifying the matchmaker and making people cry. Well, that last part might just be me. Apparently, I'm a laundress's nightmare.
As I said, he's pretty fun. I don't know what sort of training they go through to become summit butlers, but it definitely seems to involve swearing against anything that might be remotely exciting. Like a fucking Kool-Aid man kicking in the door, yep. I find you both a different type of unpleasant. That's pretty good, actually. But no. Surely, as a captain of a ship, you must agree that it's important to have a balance of people, even if they are butlers who you find wearingly serious.
Ah, Glitter, you resort to using petty words as well? A girl like you is dangerous. Just when a fellow thinks he's in charge, he wakes up one day to realize he's been led by a siren all the while.
You frown at the unflattering compliment, and he laughs cheerfully. You reach the end of the guest hall and make your way into the big open central corridors, when in front of you, Hameen stops and spins around so abruptly it's all you can do not to run smack into his chest. Paying no attention to the potential accident, he grins and goes fishing in one of his many pockets.
I almost forgot! For you!
He triumphantly pulls out a sparkling grey stone that is liberally specked with glistening gold flakes.
I found this when I was exploring the grounds and of course instantly thought of you! A fine present for a fine lady.
You have good enough manners to accept the gift with thanks, but what do you really think of it? Cheap and insulting. Think giving me a stone the color of my eyes is romantic. He's going to shower me with gifts. I think it should be at least something that will prove useful to my plans. Of course I'm deserving of gifts, but I think something a little more grand would be more appropriate tribute. I appreciate the symbolism and intent behind this gift more than if you gave me something boring and practical. Plus, I can think of a few interesting ways to use it already. You weren't ever in charge? He grins, evidently pleased enough with your thanks, and happily leads the way further into the palace. Leading you out of a half-hidden door, you exit the palace for a strange courtyard you've never seen before. For someone who is supposed to be exploring, you seem to know exactly where we are going. It's a thought that counts. Anyone can throw money around. Right? I confess I cheated on you.
I've been bored the past few days. I've already explored pretty much anywhere interesting there is to see. But don't worry, I plan to bring you to all the best spots. And then I can look especially manly and attractive, because I will already know everything and get to show off all of my many, many charms. Hameen's fun. He winks at you as he takes the sleeve of your dress, pinches it between his fingers, and tugs you onwards and up an outdoor staircase that looks like it hasn't seen regular use since the days of Katya herself. Hameen throws open an ill-cared-for old door with enough force you are surprised the rickety-looking thing doesn't break, and gestures you inside to a slightly dusty hallway. Large open windows dot the hallway, letting light stream in and illuminate the otherwise dark stairs at the end of the hall. Hameen's eyes sparkle with excitement, and he leans towards you and speaks in the most "I'm sharing a dramatic secret" voice. This is the Forbidden Wing. Why is it forbidden? I haven't figured it out yet. I just heard the natives call it that. But doesn't it sound interesting? It sounds exactly like the place to have a proper adventure. I've led us this far, so I'm counting on you, Lady Glitter, to find us the adventure now. You were supposed to be the one entertaining me. I kinda like, you were supposed to be the one entertaining me, jerk. Do you hear that? Following your words, Hameen cocks his head and grins happily. Looks like someone is having an argument. Should we listen in? Unable to deny his mischievous excitement, the pair of you lean partially out a hidden window to peer down on an argument happening below. Apparently not all of the servants are as serious about their duties as Jasper, for a pair of lovebirds have ducked out of their jobs to have a love spat that turns out to be quite graphic and dramatic indeed. By the time they have made up and moved out of earshot, Hameen is just short of bursting out into the giggles and grinning at you. As his fellow conspirator, you have gained a little more insight into the inner workings of your fellow man. There's one more place I want to show you, but before that... Hameen grins and procures a small blade, one that you are pretty sure he isn't supposed to have, that was hidden somewhere on his person. With a wicked grin, he turns to the wall and starts scratching at the old stone. It's only after he's declared he's finished with his masterpiece that you realize what he was doing. He's carved both of your initials into the wall. There, now we've added to the mystery of the Forbidden Wing. People will wonder about us and our story for generations to come. Now come on, Glitter. We need to hurry if we want to appreciate my favorite place in the castle before the sun goes down. He likes the tea. Who doesn't? Who doesn't appreciate spying on drama? Also, the fact that he carved our initials, like, that is, I don't know, that's kind of cute. Before you can protest, you've been dragged through the entire castle to the complete opposite end of the grounds, through the gardens and into a secluded gazebo. This is your favorite place in the castle? Oh, is it not what you expected? You just don't seem the gazebo type. What drink is that? This is Pop Shot brand cream soda. That's supposed to be like cream. That's supposed to be like a dollop of cream. With cream. Not a poop. That's not actually supposed to be a poop. It just looks like a poop. Also, hello, poop.
I've never really gotten to watch drama in person. The closest I've come to seeing drama in person, back when I was in college, um, there was a girl in my program who one day just completely fucking freaked out. She was struggling. Like I'm guessing like she was probably having an issue with her meds. I'm assuming that she's supposed to be on some sort of medication and probably having some sort of issue with it, would be my guess. And she was kind of struggling with the class. Like with the material for the day. I seldom watched that drama though, Boop. I seldom watched the drama. Sometimes I had to be a part of the drama. This is just like, I'm talking about like, you're just like minding your own business and like there's, like you're out at a restaurant and some couple 3 tables over starts having a big fight. That kind of thing. That kind of like seeing the drama in person. So yeah, girl just was always having trouble with the material that day. And just sort of had a whole break-in and stood up and started screaming about the class being bullshit. Accused everyone else of cheating. Just complete freak out. My ears perk up real quick when that's going down. As I recall, I believe later that day, I have a set of neighbors always arguing for the neighborhood. Yeah, I believe like later that day, might have been even like later that class, there was like a fire alarm or something went off. And like we all had to sort of evacuate the class, or evacuate the building. Which, like, it was one of those things like, are these two things related? What did she do after she left the classroom? Anyway, you don't seem the gazebo type. I think I'll spare my ego and not ask you what type I seem like. Yes, this is my favorite place. There's something very peaceful here. I wouldn't say you were the peaceful type either. Because I can't usually find it. Not because I don't appreciate it. It's the same with you, Glitter. One time I tripped during a fire drill, everyone laughed. You can't usually find me? Ha, no. I'm sure if I wanted to, no matter where you went, I could find you. I meant you were like the gazebo. When I'm with you, I feel more at ease somehow. Usually I'm itching to be going or doing, but when I'm with you, I'm fine just being. Sorry, was that strange? It is an odd thing to say. We barely know each other, and I suppose it might not feel like much of a compliment. Although I think it is. A good thing about you, I mean. I'm gonna go with, it's strange, but I wouldn't say it's the strangest thing about you, Prince Pirate. Kinda clever. I think I actually like this bottom one. I think we are all somewhat strange. I admire people who bravely own up to it. Ah, if you are looking for men who are both strange and courageous, I think you might be in luck, Glitter. Look no further.
He's a good dude.
He is. He's fun, but he's got heart. Why, yes, those are the top two qualities we should all have in liberal measure. Strangeness and overconfidence. With those two, what could go wrong? Confidence, yes, but you can't call it overconfidence until I prove less than I claim. Shall we put it to the test? Somehow, I feel that offers the most dangerous of all. Which is saying something, coming from a pirate who frequently speaks of kidnapping me. He laughs impishly. Ah, Glitter, I had fun with you today. I didn't want to come to the summit, you know. My father insisted. But being trapped in a small castle on a small island, unable to leave and sail the sea, free with the winds, forced to be a better version of myself. He smiles and trails off, staring into space. He is silent for a minute, before smiling and turning back to you. But meeting you, I'm beginning to suspect it might have made all of it worth it. I'm beginning to suspect it might have made all of it worth it. You never know. Maybe the winds blew you to meet me for a reason. Someone has learned somewhat of the sayings of heights, I see. Be careful. Dip your toes in the ocean and it won't be long before you are popping your lands for a ship and becoming a proper pirate like the rest of us. Sticks and lilies? Totally boop boop. It is totally like Styx and Lilith. Talking like that, you make it sound so tempting. Oh, cruel tease, to speak of temptation so lately, as if you were unaware of the great temptation you represent. Fate may yet prove a cruel mistress. Just like the winds? Yes, exactly like. Hameen gives a short, theatrical sigh before jumping gracefully to his feet. The sun has no respect for our fun and has already threatened to set. I suppose I had best return you to your butler Sirius before he arranges to have me assassinated out of pure annoyance. But fear not, Fair Glitter. I shall steal you away from him again. You can count on it. Wiping any of the slight, out-of-character melancholy he showed in the gazebo, Hameen cheerfully escorts you back to your room, dancing along the hallways, seemingly no less energetic for the late hour. Deciding it wise to leave before Jasper could catch him for another lecture, he waves and hurries off, his departure as much a storm as his arrival. The Prince of Heist is a strange man, but you have a feeling you saw a side of him tonight that few ever suspected, let alone glimpsed. If nothing else, watching the way he explored and climbed through all the back ways of the castle has taught you a few things. Not that they would be considered ladylike, but you imagine they might prove useful all the same. That one I believe... I think Eloquence, actually. Persuasion and Street Smarts. Jasper looks up the moment you enter the room. It's obvious that he's been waiting tensely for your return. I've been preparing, Lady Nicole. I think we should start with elocution. Shall we begin? It's a long, long night before you are finally able to collapse into your bed. Earth Day! A new day dawns! Only 3 days remain until the self-introductions. As soon as the remains of breakfast have been cleared away, and Rhea is satisfied that you are dressed and prepared for an outdoor venture, you head out towards the gardens, where you agree to meet Earl Emmett. You blink into the bright morning sun, only to realize that Earl Emmett is already waiting for you. His warm smile breaks into a great grin as soon as your eyes meet, and he waves at you enthusiastically. He's practically bouncing with energy as you make your way to him. Clearly, mornings in the outdoors are his natural element. Yeah, this guy is just a golden retriever. Earl Emmett is just a golden retriever. that is exactly what he is. Just a big, cheerful pupper. Big, cheerful pupper. I think I gave him an English accent. Good morning, Lady Nicole. How are you? I hope you slept well. Isn't it a lovely morning? Never really learned how to only ask one question at a time. It's a morning, therefore it cannot It's a morning, therefore it cannot, in fair conscience. It's a morning, therefore it cannot, in fair conscience, be called good. I like that. That one. I feel that one. Also, you never really learned how to ask only one question at a time. He looks English. Though I haven't seen his teeth yet. Or maybe I could give him a... Maybe I could give him a French accent. I don't know that I've given any of the, Rivere is French, right. Rivere is, my French accents. Not that I'm going to be spending a lot of time with the Rivere people, I don't think. For the record, the accents I'm trying to go with for each. For Welland, I'm trying to go with, like, Southern, but, like, you know, like the classy Southern? You know, like the, I say classy, but I mean, like, you know, Old South. You know, like Old South. I don't know why, I just get that vibe from them. Skuld? I want to go with, like, some sort of Nordic accent, which I fail at. Arland? Yeah, Arland feels like it should be English. Heis, I'm trying to go with, Heis, I think I decided on Spanish. Debutante. Yeah, that, exactly, that debutante. Horse racing and mint juleps. The kind to relax with a good old mint julep on a hot day. Yeah, Heis, I'm gonna go with like a Spanish-ish accent. GL, I kind of see, like, GL is clearly meant to be, like, Asian-inspired, but I don't know how to do an Asian accent. Corval, I'm going with, like, a, Arabic. And Rivere, I'm gonna go with, like, a French accent. What do you mean, what's up with Lord Claremont? What, because he's red hair and the other two have white? Anyway. I slept well and am doing well, thank you for asking. And you? He grins in a friendly fashion. Why, I slept just fine myself. Nope. That's not that Southern. Good evening. Why, I slept just fine myself. The beds here are mighty fine, some of the best hospitality I've seen in all the kingdoms. Although, technically speaking, I don't suppose the Isle counts as a kingdom. Still, I'm finding my stay mighty agreeable all the same. As a woman with a son, that was fucking hilarious. Just the stuff, just me talking about mint juleps on a hot day. The gardens here are pretty and all, but I thought it would be nice if we wandered a bit and got to see some of the natural beauty of the Isle. It is a really lovely place, isn't it? Surprising that they never really got conquered or got a lot of attention before Katya's time, isn't it? Well, it all worked out for the best. I guess people must have a better time feeling all peaceable when the place they are at is so nice. Shall we go? Before you can so much as nod your agreement, Earl Emmett is off like an excited puppy, and the pair of you leave the grounds to explore some of the nature around the castle.
How are you doing? Are you keeping up okay? If I'm going too fast, just go ahead and holler, or even bop me on my head. My sister always says I never remember how much difficult all the layers and skirts and such make walking for the lady folk, so if it gets to be too difficult, just let me know.
Earl is the cutest one.
He is.
You take the opportunity given by his long, breathless speech to catch some breath of your own. He charges into the brush, path or no path, with full speed and enthusiasm, and keeping up to him hasn't been the easiest thing you've ever done. Don't like this game or art style, though. Fair.
Oh, look, behind you!
You whirl around, telling yourself that if he was pointing to something dangerous, he wouldn't have used that happy tone of voice. You are relieved to see there aren't any strange charging beasts. Instead, it seems like he's pointing to a large flower, half as tall as you, with bright, multicolored petals and a center as big and round as your face. Turkey slap him.
Do you know what that is?
It better not be poisonous. A large flower? I believe that is the giant genus of the Maiden's Vigil flower. His grin grows even bigger. He is clearly thrilled you recognize it, and when he launches into his speech, you can tell he's just enjoying talking about it, not trying to teach you something you already showed you know.
It's rare, but about 100 years ago, people started finding giant versions of normal plants, trees, and flowers. No one knows exactly why. No one can seem to breed or reproduce them. They seem to have to happen in the wild. I've only ever seen one before. I've only ever seen once before, and we are very lucky to see this one.
He walks up to the flower, grinning up at it in a way that was more pleased admirer than you have seen on any of your love-struck fellows, upon first witnessing some of the hugely attractive fellow delegates. He's a botanist. He's a dude who loves shit. He's a dude who loves things. He's nature boy. He very much loves being outside, loves plants, and he's just excitable. Also, hiccup there. I like that it describes this. I like that it's like he's more love struck by the flower than most of the delegates are by the other people. Than most of the people here are by the other people. You red boil. He pats its long green stem before he apologizes to the flower and gently plucks one of the petals. The one he chose was golden orange tinged red like a sunrise. He offers it to you with a grin, but the way he gently holds it is like it's something precious. That's why we don't vibe. I'm an indoor girl. Yeah. Easy duelist. He loves things. He loves things, Buttercup. Don't make it dirty. Or gay or whatever.
For you.
You take it gingerly and carefully secure it into your small reticule.
It should be very good for you here at the summit. Have you ever heard the story behind the name of the Maiden's Vigil?
He doesn't give you much time to answer before launching into the story as the pair of you resume walking. Alright, Tylenol.
According to the myth, there was a very jealous father who had many useless sons and one precious daughter. He kept her locked away in a tower, for he couldn't stand the thought of any other man looking at her beauty and taking her away. That didn't stop him from bragging to anyone who would listen about her. She was like the sun, he said, and just to look upon her face was to be blessed with the gentlest of sunshine.
Don't make it dirty or gay.
Her father was a traveling merchant, and he often brought presents back for his lonely daughter. One day he was tricked by an old witch who got him to trade his valuable spices for a bag of seeds, claiming that inside was the key to his daughter's happiness.
I love things too. And even nature from the comfort of indoors.
The merchant wasn't very happy, but he nonetheless gave the seeds to his daughter. The next night after he had left to go traveling again, his daughter had a dream. A voice told her to plant the seeds at the bottom of her tower, to smile at them and give them water every day, and when they bloomed, they would show her happiness at last. She didn't know how to plant them, considering that she could never leave her tower room. So in the end, she sang a song to the wind, and asked it to carry them down safely for her, and threw them out her open window. Most of the seeds were lost in the wind, but maybe by chance, and maybe because the wind liked her song and took pity on her, one of the seeds took root in the ground right below her window. Being honest, I don't know what roots listed at all.
9 o'clock Eastern Time. Uncle Buck takes her Tylenol at 9 o'clock Eastern Time.
She followed the instructions of the voice in her dreams, and every day she smiled at it. And every night she made sure it got water, by leaning out her window and letting her lonely tears rain down. Slowly, the seed became a small plant, and the small plant became a flower, yet to bud. Every day she smiled, and every day she cried, and the plant grew and grew, growing towards her like she was truly the sun. Finally, one day the flower had grown long enough that it reached her window, and that day it bloomed, each petal a different vibrant color. The daughter took one look at the sturdy stalk, grabbed hold of her flower, and climbed down from the tower and left her father behind. From that day on, she was in control of her own fate, and never cried at night again.
Aw, that's a cute story. That's a cute fairy tale. I like getting excited about mundane shit. It's the purest form of happiness. Right? Is any of it true? He shrugs.
I have no idea, but knowing would take a lot of the fun out of it, don't you think? In any case, ever since then, a petal from a maiden vigil has been considered good luck for a young lady when her future seems uncertain. I hope that much is true, and it brings you good things, Lady Nicole.
Thank you. It's a thoughtful gift and a lovely story. Where did you learn it?
You know, I can't remember where exactly I learned that one. But if my traveling has resulted in anything, it's a great deal of stories and knowledge about the different animals and plants of the world. Well, I suppose they don't seem like very useful talents to you either. My father certainly didn't think so. He said such nonsense was useless for a future Earl.
His father's a dick. They aren't very noble pursuits. You know what? Knowing about flora and fauna, that can be very useful. I can think of a lot of talents you have that make you a good Earl. He quirks his head at you and looks at you with eyes like a puppy who has been offered a treat, but isn't quite sure that it isn't going to be yanked away. No! Really? Of course. You are always concerned about other people, and you have a gift for making them feel happy and relaxed. Your travels have surely taught you about more than just plants, but how different types of cultures and peoples rule and lead, and what you observed that you liked and what you didn't. You are charming and open and very likable, so I'm sure your people are happy to have you be their Earl, and will want to do their best for you. He blushes adorably, pleased with the compliments, but made too shy by them to properly respond. Natural science is fascinating, just not rolling around in it. You're a good bunch, yep. We are a good bunch, and also Buttercup's here. Boom! Burn! I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Buttercup. You're a good'un. Buttercup's a good'un. Can't remember shit either. The leftover memory space is taken up by the Animal Crossing update. The pair of you briefly stop to catch your breath, and you realize that you have reached the top of a lakeside cliff. You didn't realize the castle had a lake so nearby, but considering the need for fresh water, it makes sense. The view below is quite pretty, so long as you aren't afraid about potentially making that long fall. Although, with the water right below, you are pretty sure barring any unfortunate accidents, like banging your head on the rocks, you would survive it. The Earl breaks into a bright, beaming smile of triumph. This is the best part of exploring, when you find some great natural vista like this. It makes you remember how great the world can be, doesn't it? His smile and enthusiasm are so genuine, you find yourself instantly smiling back. It's too bad there aren't more cultures that think things like exploring nature are good to get to know one another. It makes a lot more sense than doing silly things like dancing in small, stuffy rooms, or trying to converse when 100 other people are talking at the same time, meaning everyone is shouting and no one can hear anyone else anyway. Is that the way people get to know each other in all the places you visited? Sadly, yes. The nobles, anyway. Is there a reason you have traveled so much, my lord? Or was it all just in an attempt to gain more stories and knowledge of local fauna? Passes the vibe check. He does! A reason? Well, it wasn't my choice. Not at first. My father believed in very strict ideas about what was duty and how you did it. Not even a 4-year-old got to shirk their duty, and was expected to be stoic about it. So when it was discussed that the nobles of our land should put some more focus on building positive relations with the people of other countries, I was sent away to foster with a noble family in Welland that were related to my mother. I was there for 2 years, before my foster mother got sick and I was sent back. I was home for a few months before I was put on a ship to spend some time with a distant relative of my grandfather in Revere. Well, things were getting really contentious there, so I wasn't there for very long. After that, I spent a few years fostered in GL, then another year on a ship with someone from Heist, and, well, basically I've spent time just about everywhere. Stoic 4-year-old would creep me the fuck out. Unfortunately, that is kinda expected with royalty, nobility. With the rich in general, with, like, stuffy rich people, they kinda do expect even their 4-year-olds to be stoic. That shit out of horror movies. You know, like... Stop crying! You're a von shit! Act like it! Holy shit! Wow! Hey, old meat! What would our cave people ancestors think of this game? They probably think it'd be better if you could, if there was movement. Frankly, they would probably think it's better if there was some motion. After a story like that, you have to wonder if your father just really, really disliked you. Jesus Christ, game! Like, Jesus Christ. After hearing that, I'm even more impressed with your cheerfulness and positive attitude than I was before. He blushes faintly.
Well, thank you. But I'm not anything special, I promise.
I beg to differ. You seem plenty special to me. Many people have become much more petty or miserable for much less cause. I think you must have some special strength of character.
Can we talk about something that's not my special strengths?
You laugh teasingly at his increasing bashfulness.
Well, I didn't bring you here so we could have gloomy reminiscences about my past. We should enjoy the view while we can. I think we will have to return soon.
Humble bro, he is. You are both enjoying the view when a loud grumble from the Earl's stomach echoes loudly. He blushes fiercely and scratches his lowered head with embarrassment. I'm starting to feel peckish. Should we return so we can have lunch? He gives you a grateful look, and the pair of you tromp back through the wilderness in search of food. It has been a peaceful, if vaguely dirt-filled, morning with the Earl, and you are beginning to understand him a little better. Additionally, thanks to his enthusiasm for both the local plants and his happiness to share his thoughts on them at every opportunity, you now feel much more knowledgeable about them. You were unable to avoid accepting an invitation to late afternoon tea with Princess Jaslyn and her favorites, among who you are now convinced are the most gossipy set of delegates the isle has ever seen. He's English for sure. Yeah. Yeah, he definitely gives English vibes. On the whole, you considered the affair one great waste of time. For what use is there in knowing, in greater detail than you ever wished to, the various types of undergarments used by the Sculpt warriors? I mean... Depending on how depending on how this goes, we might get first-hand experience with that. Right? I mean, like we might get some first-hand experience with the undergarments of at least one Sculpt warrior. Or what color stockings is fashionable in the Welland court? Or who was waking up their neighbors in the middle of the night, practicing their violin? There was one bit of gossip, however, that seemed interesting. Not that anyone else came out and said it, but it appears there are two factions among the revered delegates, and they don't get along at all. Of course, no one was so helpful as to explain what their differences seemed to be. Oh well, there's plenty of time to worry about such things later. For now, you have things to do. I don't think there's any more opportunities for secrets this week. Practicing their violin. That's what the stoic kids called these days. Oh, actually, there might be one more. Might be one more depending on, We'll see. We'll see if I have enough stats. I think I do. I should. As you wander into the kitchens, you are struck by a wave of delicious and tempting aromas. If you weren't hungry before, you certainly are now. You attempt to preserve your dignity and not allow your mouth to visibly water. Excuse me. The head cook finally notices you are invading her kitchen and gives you a reprimanding look. You turn on your best puppy eyes and plead to be fed. Sighing heavily, the cook gives you some fresh bread and cheese and banishes you to a far corner where you will not get in anyone's way. While you are happily inhaling ecstasy in red form, you realize that your little nook is exactly correctly located in order to overhear a frantic, hushed conversation between two voices you recognize as belonging to head of staff at the Isle, Mrs. White, and Lord Claremont, happening outside the kitchens. You should be most careful of all. You are the most visible and thus the most vulnerable. I didn't come all this way to simply do nothing and be protected. You aren't doing nothing. You are attempting to build alliances, something we need desperately, and you are uniquely positioned for. Just as the conversation starts to get interesting, you're interrupted by the cook, who shoos you out of her kitchens before major meal preparations are set to begin. There's no telling the head cook no in her own kitchen, so you are sent in your way. But still, you can't help but think about what you have overheard. What a very strange conversation, especially considering Mrs. White's position as island staff. You are sure you have just stumbled on a piece of a very interesting puzzle. Still, you don't have enough information to figure out just what that is yet. Fire Day! A new day dawns. The self-introductions are tomorrow. So yeah, I think that's all the secrets for this week. That said, I think there is actually someone we can meet. Hopefully. Yay! You decide to go in search of a pleasant place to find some peace and quiet and regain some of your tranquility and head towards the gazebo. Apparently, you're not the only one who had that idea, because as you get closer, you recognize Princess Penelope, huddled into the gazebo, and it looks like she might be sniffling back tears. What do you do? Approach her, of course. She's a sweetheart. You decide to approach. The princess looks up, surprise filling her watery eyes, and she smiles tentatively at you. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you hoping to use the gazebo? I can leave. She's already getting up and getting ready to leave before she even finishes offering. Insists she stay, and inquired gently after her well-being. After your gentle nudging, Princess Penelope confesses to feeling overwhelmed by her first big event away from home. But you successfully convince her that she isn't alone, and that she has already made at least one friend, and she cheers up considerably. Yay! By the way, you could also get beauty tips from Rhea. And if you do that, you can start a romance with her. You can romance Rhea, not Sierra, but Rhea. Sometimes it seems as if you are destined to be cursed with unfortunate seat partners. Perhaps you have inadvertently angered whoever among the staff was in charge of seating charts. Jasper is setting up another pile of improving books for you to read, so you decide to ask him.
No, I think I should have heard of it if you had displeased Mrs. White. Why do you ask? What happened at dinner this time?
You sigh heavily. I had to stop a Skald warrior from stabbing a Welland lord with her dinner knife. Should we really be giving the Skald such sharp weapons at the dinner table? Jasper blinked at you, the sides of his mouth twitching a very little. Like that. You almost make him laugh. You almost made him laugh. This close to getting him to laugh. You sighed again, remembering again how what was supposed to be a pleasant dinner escalated to chaos and near murder. Which one is Welland? Unnatural. What did you mumble about, oh poofy-pinted one? One of your endless boring comments on the weather, perhaps?
I said it's positively unnatural. A blot against the gods.
What is a blight against your weak gods?
It is not our gods, it is the gods. The only true gods. Only you heathens in Skald, GL, and Haas are so ignorant and misguided to think differently.
Your puny gods are not our gods, therefore there must be other gods.
Unnatural heathen! This is what comes from allowing women into the domain of the gods to create for men. If it were up to me, Welland would invade you post-haste and put all of you unnatural creatures under the rightful leadership of good husbands, so you can live in the kitchens and domestic sphere where you belong. Surely the king in his divine wisdom will recognize the need to spread his father's truth to such a forsaken land and lead us to God's blessed victory against your people soon.
And that's about when her face turned purple with rage, and she lunged at him with her dinner knife. You rubbed your head, just remembering the pounding headache that had caused.
Yes, I'm sure it is no surprise that they cannot get along. The two nations are truly on the brink of war. We can only hope that somehow they find a way to negotiate peace during the summit. Otherwise, it's doomed to be war for sure.
You just hope that war, if it begins, won't be started by someone stabbing someone sitting next to you at the dinner table. But after tonight, your hopes weren't exactly optimistic. In any case, you refused to let them ruin your evening. You still had plans. Your week has been busier than you had ever anticipated. It is only after a long day and a trying dinner on your very last night before the day of the self-introductions that you find yourself with enough free time to go seeking out the rumored night library haunting Duke Leon. You head to the Grand Library and begin searching for the elusive Duke, who is the summit attendee most like a ghost, as he seems to avoid attending any event he can conceivably get out of. You are beginning to wonder if the gossip about his supernatural ability to disappear into thin air as soon as he senses a young lady approaching is true, or even more unbelievably, that Jasper's information sources were wrong, when you finally spot him, barricaded in at a small table near the back corner of the library, a fortress of books surrounding him. Duke Leon, good evening. We missed you at dinner, but here I see it was because you were too busy eating a mountain of books. I suppose at least the paste binding the pages should sustain you until morning. Startled, the Duke looks up and blinks at you disbelievingly several times. You feel like the pause before he speaks and the rapid blinking are more him returning from wherever it was his brain had gone, and less a flattering reaction to how unbelievably ethereal and charming a picture you make.
Lady Nicole.
Yes, that was my name last time I checked. Good evening.
But what are you doing here?
It's a library. I came for the books. He blinks at you and then gestures to the rest of the large room.
The room is full of them. It's a self-serve library. Help yourself.
Then he goes back to his book, apparently satisfied. It takes him a minute, but when he notices you are still standing over him, he looks up, confused. After a moment's study, his face clears, like he's figured out the solution to a math problem.
You wanted one of the ones I have? Here, take this one. I just finished it. It's an excellent treatise on the observational study of the migration patterns of birds.
Yeah. Alright, so that option doesn't work. I wanted to talk to you again, and apparently meeting you here is the only way to do it.
You came to talk to me?
Yes, I did.
I doubt I'll be much of a better conversation partner than I was the first night.
If I hadn't enjoyed our first conversation, I wouldn't be here stubbornly seeking out another, now would I?
You would, if you had some other motives than just enjoyment.
Goodness, Your Grace. If you see everyone through such cynical eyes, it's no wonder you spent all your time hiding out alone in the library. The Duke shuffles uncomfortably in his chair and tugs at his shirt collar, but otherwise he doesn't seem to object too strongly to your presence. Seizing your moment of advantage, you plop into the open seat across from him and smile. What were you reading so intently before I so cruelly interrupted?
The historian Kellum Ives' philosophical treatise on the ethical impetus on actors of significant events to intervene versus unbiased documentation in terms of the impact on perdurable public good.
Okay, I have to look up what perdurable means. Enduring continuously, imperishable. Interesting. A new word. Oh? And does he have anything interesting to say on the subject? I imagine there are few people such a topic would be more relevant to than us delegates at this particular summit.
It is an interesting discussion, but I'm not sure how relevant it would prove. It seems to me to be more of a treatise on regret, having made a decision he tries to justify living with.
True, it is too soon in our own stories to be burdened with an excess of regret. Still, it seems awfully coincidental that you would be reading it now. Are you worried about your role here at the summit? That's a 50-cent word. Yep.
It isn't coincidental at all. Unedited first edition copies of Historian Ives' work are almost impossible to find, even at the GL Royal Archives.
So, you are more interested in taking advantage of the Isle Library than your position as an agent of potential change.
I confess I haven't become of one mind on the matter. And you, Lady Nicole?
I am usually a creature of many minds, thank you for asking.
No, what are your thoughts on this matter?
So, wow, lots of stuff here. Merit in both arguments. Weak. I'm of the mind that if one is forced to choose, it is better to accurately preserve a record of what happened, in hopes that that knowledge can give a better understanding and more choices to the future generations. Option 3. I think it is a rather spacious argument to simply negate personal responsibility in favor of some idea of historical neutrality. Accurate history may make a difference in the future, but I hold we all have a responsibility to actively help those who are endangered or threatened or hurt, now, in the present, and the present harm should be given more precedence. Finally, quite honestly, I am not content to be anything but an active agent in my own fate. I would rather build a future I had some part in creating, rather than become a victim to whatever future would happen where I'd have no say at all. Honestly, I kind of agree with the third one here. Negate personal responsibility in favor of historical neutrality. Accurate history may make a difference in the future, but we have a responsibility to help those who are endangered now. I'm actually inclined to go with that one, honestly. Third one sounds just like you. Just like me in ideals, not in practice. Because in practice, I am completely and totally passive in every way. Anyway.
You speak so passionately on the subject, I can almost forget your argument is essentially flawed.
In which way?
Humans are not gods. We do not have the power to predict or control the ripples and after effects of our decisions. How can we, in good conscience, play with hypothetical fire, knowing full well that not only can we be burned by it, but so can anyone who is around us, or even many innocents we will never see or meet?
To be human is to err, but to do nothing. That is where I think we could truly fail. That is when our fear wins, and so do those who do not value those same innocents, nor care about such consequences. To be wise enough to recognize the weight of the responsibility, compassionate enough to care what results, and brave enough to try anyway. That is truly what I think we and our contemporaries should all aspire to. It is the best we can give the people who are depending on us. Not omnipotence, nor no missteps at all.
How can you speak of failure so lightly?
Because the worst failure of all is the failure to try. I can think of hundreds of poems, songs, and historical figures of people
who have tried to do the right thing for the greater good. They do not always succeed, and sometimes their success comes with a high price. But all of them, even the failures, give us hope. They inspire us. They give us examples. We all wish to believe that no matter how dark things get, how selfish or cruel the people around us are, that some people will always be brave and good and just. So even the failures stay around to inspire and teach the future, like your historian's accounts. It's true. I mean, that's what Star Trek's all about. You gonna argue with Star Trek, Leon? Are you going to argue with goddamn Star Trek, Duke Leon? Risk is our business. You have given me much to think on, Lady Nicole. The Duke shakes his head wryly. It was never a part of my plans to spend my evening debating ethical theory with you. Rubbing your eyes. Yeah, honestly, I've had something in this fucking eye since last night. It's like a little bit of dust or something got in my eye. It's fucking annoying. By all appearances, it was your plan to build a defensive structure entirely out of books, and never step out to see the light of day again. I'm not sure I can be sorry for interrupting that. Okay, but like a fort made of books? Honestly, I would live there. I would happily live in a library. He notices the haphazard, very tall stack of books surrounding him, as if seeing them for the first time. I suppose it was overly ambitious of me to take all these books. I love that. I love that. It's like, oh, right. That's maybe more books than even I can read. Only if you plan to leave the library sometime before the next summit. I mean, if he could stay there, if he's allowed to stay there, why would he leave? He smiles a little but says nothing. Finally, you have had enough with the silence. If I ask you something, will you promise to answer honestly? I prefer to be honest in general. Yes, I promise to be honest, but I don't promise to answer. This man just makes me think of Byakuya from Bleach. Seeing this pile has given me a sinking suspicion. When was the last time you ate anything? Yep. Yeah, if your response to... Like, if someone asks when was the last time you ate, and your response is dead fucking silence, that's a bad sign. He is silent, engaging by his expression. It's because he doesn't have a ready answer that doesn't require a great deal of calculation. If you have to think that hard about it, the answer is far too long. I'll be right back. You step out of the library briefly and ask for some food to be brought to the back table from the kitchens, as soon as they could arrange it, lest the Duke Leon pass out from malnutrition before he even noticed he was hungry. Been there. I've been there, gotten so absorbed in doing something that I've, like... Oh right, food. Satisfied they were bringing enough food to sustain even the giant Duke, who couldn't even remember the last time he ate, you head back to his little fortress and reclaim your seat. Yeah, spell his name wrong. Been a long time since I've watched any anime at all, let alone Bleach.
Having already resumed his reading, he looks up at you in surprise.
You are back.
I said I would be, didn't I? As I recall, my exact words were, "I'll be right back."
It wouldn't be the first time.
The first time for what?
That someone said they had to do something and didn't come back.
You laugh, finally realizing what he was expecting. Ah, is that what you normally do? Chase the girls away with intellectual debate?
Not usually on purpose. Not usually on purpose.
I told you, I came to talk to you, whatever form that conversation takes. You will have to do a lot better than that if you really want to get rid of me. He doesn't seem displeased with your declaration, but then again, he doesn't seem especially pleased, or speak either. He just looks at you, his face stoically blank, his eyes considering, as if you are now the book he's attempting to decipher. Thankfully for the part of you that didn't much enjoy the comparison to some obscure mathematical text, the ever-efficient servants arrived with a couple of silver platters filled with food, and a pitcher of iced fruit drink. You consider his manuscript mounted and gesture to a large empty table near one of the great windows, and the servants nod and efficiently unload what they brought from the kitchens. It was mostly what could be scrounged on short notice late at night, so cold bread, cheeses, fruits, meats and pastries. Still, you imagined it would taste very good all the same, especially once the Duke remembered he was in possession of a stomach that occasionally required food. Said Duke examines the spread, the servants, and you in equal measure of surprise.
This is why you left?
Yes. Think of the great tragedy if I refused to intervene, and you died of starvation, buried under your pile of books, never to be found.
I'm not so stupid that I would allow myself to actually starve.
No one implied your problem was lack of intelligence, Your Grace. Ignoring his glare, you cheerfully grab his sleeve and tug until he reluctantly allows you to drag into the food, which he, you notice with no small smug satisfaction, eats with gusto as soon as you force him to reluctantly nibble a few bites. He's devoured 3 plates full of food before he looks up.
Aren't you going to eat any?
Unlike certain hermits, I usually go to the group dinners. You stare at the tempting food and consider. Well, on second thought, I think I will have some. My noisy seatmates rather spoiled my appetite at the time. You grab a pastry and take a greedy bite.
What happened at dinner?
You mime great shock and dramatically drop your pastry onto your plate, where you immediately plan to pick it up again and finish it. So yum. Why, I do declare I might die of shock. I do believe you just asked me a personal question, Your Grace. You laugh as he draws his eyebrows together sternly at your teasing. I had to stop one of my seatmates from murdering the other. You retell the story of the sculped warrior and the well-known delegate, in a way that actually has him laughing by the end. See? Conversations aren't all bad. I might have actually made you enjoy one. His expression turned serious.
You are not what I am used to. What I expected.
If you keep complimenting me like that, I might have to start helping you build your book fort and live in it with you.
I'm not sure it's a good thing.
Damn, dude! I might be the best thing that ever happened to you. Nice. I should think you would find something different would be a pleasing challenge for a change. Do you think that if they gave you a treatise on how to compliment women, you would do better at it? I like that one, actually. Do you think that if they gave you a treatise on how to compliment women, you would do better at it? Like nerdy combos? Yeah. Just because I'm not something you can so easily solve like an equation doesn't make me a bad thing, Duke Leon.
On the contrary, I think by definition anything that is unsolvable is a bad thing. I think most people would consider you difficult, to impossible to solve. Does that make you a bad thing as well? I wouldn't argue with that conclusion. Well, I disagree with both premises. The fact that people aren't as easily figured out as math is a good thing, and you are definitely not bad. Anyone who is truly bad would never be so invested in their ethical obligations. You really are strange. Having touched on a subject you can tell he doesn't feel comfortable with, his stoic, expressionless mask returns, and he silently finishes the last of the food on his plate, the food disappearing so quickly you could almost believe he was a master of illusion. Thank you for the food. The Duke stands up, awkwardly slouching his shoulders, and kind of shuffles back to his pile of books, where he immediately starts reading again. At least in the case of this particular Duke, when whoever it was that decided proper address chose to call Dukes Your Grace, they weren't talking about the social graces, that's for sure. I'll let you off for the night, but I won't give up on you so easily. You had best be prepared, Duke Leon. He looks up from his book and stares at you. Although his face is as expressionless as ever, his eyes hint that he's feeling conflicted about your promise. Well, at least part of his conflict seems to view it as more of a threat than a promise. You smile sweetly, eyes twinkling, knowing that simply the threat of more of your assistant company is enough to make such a brilliant giant flinch. Good night, Your Grace. Don't escape in the night. It would be very ungentlemanly to run away from me. He wishes you a soft good night, and quite deliberately goes back to his book. You leave the library laughing. It has certainly been an interesting evening. Getting to know the Duke, let alone earning his trust, is probably going to be one of the most difficult challenges you could find during your time at the summit. Considering the gravity and difficulty of current world affairs, that's saying something. Still, you feel like you have gained some insight into the taciturn genius, and by talking with him, you even feel like some of his strengths have rubbed off on you. You feel slightly more intelligent and knowledgeable after the evening's discussion. Yay, intelligence at now 115! And this actually feels a good place to stop. So, next week, self-introductions. Yay! Who doesn't love doing self-introductions, right? Who doesn't love that shit? It occurs to me, I haven't been looking at the, I haven't been looking at this stuff. You heard a most unusual conversation between the head of staff, Mrs. White, Lord Claremont of Revere, discussing danger and the need to build alliances. For what or how the pair are related, you don't know.
Oh, actually, first our event and then self-introductions. So we've got a busy, busy day. We have a busy, busy day ahead of us. First, a big event, and then self-introductions. So that'll be next week. And I will probably check to see if I should boost my stats anymore for that or for anything else coming up. I feel like my stats are probably, good enough for most of what's left in the game. Anywho's, thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow. Good night. Have we already introduced everyone? Not really. So there was like the big part. There was like the big. Like we introduced ourselves to a bunch of people on the first night. This is sort of a different thing. This is the self-introductions are kind of a different thing. That was like the first night was just one-on-ones. We went up, we talked to somebody, and then whatever. This is sort of telling everybody, hey, this is who I am. This is why I'm here. Definitely be bumping up my beauty. The one stat that I didn't bother bumping, because it's not actually, it's not too important, honestly. So yeah, this is sort of introducing ourselves to all the delegates, just, why we're there, that sort of thing. Anyway. But yeah, fancy, exactly, Grimace. Fancy shit. Anyway. Thank you for watching. See y'all tomorrow.